and welcome to Mike Nierychlo online, sharing my love for people, wine, food, and all things made passionately. Okay, so it's my pleasure to introduce to you Roland Kruger. Roland, pleasure to have you in the garage.
Great to be here.
Awesome.
Very excited to be here.
Roland is one of the owners of Wild Goose Winery. Now, Wild Goose Winery, before we get to the episode, and I'm going to just be really polite to Roland and say that Wild Goose Winery is probably one of my standby wineries to the Okanagan. So
here's that $5.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate that. Anyway, they make some brilliant white wines in the Okanagan. You guys have been doing such a great job.
Thank you very much.
Been around for a long time, and I'm excited to have you here. So, tell us about Wild Goose.
Well, do you have 2 hours?
We can carry on. It's a family operation.
You know, I'm 47 years old now. You know, I've been in this business for 25 years. I mean, it's really remarkable. You know, we've been around for quite a while, and we still get people coming by the winery saying, "Oh my God, when did you guys open up?" But yeah, it's been 25 years ago. Wow. But you know, basically, my father was in the electronics consulting business in Vancouver for many years, and he kind of was forced to retire early. You know, with our last recession back, I guess in the 80s, and he ended up moving up to 70 Mile House, and they were just
a riveting area.
It's big mosquitoes and cold winters, but great fishing though. That's for sure. So. But you know, they spent one really vicious winter up there, and they went to visit a friend in Culloden, and his friend had a 5-acre vineyard there, and it was the Broderson Vineyard right across from the game farm, and there's been a lot of really good Gewürztraminer grown in that vineyard, and my dad visited Nick. And saw the lifestyle Nick was living. There's that lifestyle word, right?
It'll catch you, right?
Yeah, it is.
Suck you in.
But the fellow was painting. He was doing his 5 acres of grapes. Kept them busy and kept them healthy. And my dad saw that and thought, you know what? That'd be a great way to have a retirement.
Yeah, for sure.
So my dad decided to basically to venture out and. Couldn't find any 5-acre parcels of land, but he found a 10-acre parcel, and basically he phoned my brother and I up, when we were living in Calgary at the time, and said, "Hey boys, you want to invest into a vineyard?" And my brother and I were like, "Well, vineyard? What's that? What's that?" Exactly. So he kind of told us about it, and my brother and I. You know, said, "Hey, why not? You know, we're young. Let's you know, real estate's always a good investment."
For sure.
So consequently, we bought 10 acres in Okanagan Falls, raw land, and we reshaped the property and planted 10 acres of grapes. And that was back in 1984.
1984. So you guys have to be, it's funny that people would walk up to your winery and be like, "When did you open?" Because you're one of the original wineries in the area, for sure.
Well, that's right. You know, we planted the grapes in '84, and we grew the grapes for a number of years, and you know, began selling our grapes to Mission Hill, and Mission Hill was very successful in producing the Riesling and the Gewürztraminer that was coming from you guys. That was coming from us.
Well, and that's kind of what you guys are known for now. Your Riesling and Gewürz do extremely
absolutely.
well.
That site was just a perfect site for those two varieties. And you know, when the free trade deal came into being, and you know, the BC wines were really cut loose because they had been protected up to that point in time. My father, along with Vera Koklochka from Hillside Cellars and Günther Lang from Lang Vineyards, they all started lobbying the government, saying, "Hey, we're growing these grapes. Would it be possible for us to get a winery license and sell through the farm gate? Just like a ground crop producers or whatever the case may be." And but the government then said, "Well, you have to have minimum 20 acres. You need $500,000 investment and whatnot." And that's not what we wanted. We just wanted to sell a few bottles of wine through their winery. So my dad and Vera and Günther, they lobbied the government, and to make a long story short, on June 10th, 1990, we were BC's second farm gate winery to be licensed, and Günther Lang was the first guy.
Which is very significant on the BC wine world of things as well. I mean, that's the start of everybody being able to do.
I believe we were the 17th winery total, or 17th winery in BC. To be licensed, and it was just we did it all. We grew the grapes. We made the wines in a garage a little bit larger than this one, actually. So you're well on your way, Mike. You're well on your way. So anyhow. So we grew, we vinted, we bottled on site, and I mean, here we are. 25 years later. Well, 20 years as a winery basically, and we've got over 200 wineries. I mean,
I know it's
it
crazy.
it is absolutely remarkable, and never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine the industry would have grown as it has today.
Especially on such a small area too. I mean, we've only got so many acres.
Well, there's only 10,000 acres, and
wineries.
it is truly remarkable the growth we've had, and I remember the early days in 1990 trying to sell VQA wines because our wines had to be VQA from day one. And running around Vancouver here, knocking on doors, and people laughing at us. And but that being said, we had some really tremendous supporters, people who just latched onto us, and it's so exciting to see how the wines have grown in quality. Throughout the whole industry. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's so neat to see the Okanagan, because I mean, like we just said, 200 wineries, 10,000 acres. Down the road, I mean, the Okanagan, we're kind of in that awkward teenager phase right now. We still got a lot of growth to do, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're not that poopy child anymore that was making garbage wine a long time ago. But there's going to be so many neat little boutiques coming to the Okanagan. I think that's what's going to make us known one day, is the small, like, Wild Goose wines and Tantalus wines and all the little terroir-driven wineries that really show BC, show off what it has to offer.
We're a real infant as far as wine industries are concerned versus the Germans or the French or the Italians. They've been advertising for hundreds and hundreds of years, and we're just starting out as an industry, and we're certainly going through some growing pains, and we're like teenagers. We're thinking one thing, exactly, and that's the way we are, and that is absolutely fantastic. The energy, enthusiasm. I look at new wineries that are popping up nowadays, and it is really invigorating to see new wineries starting up and people so full of energy.
There's so much passion.
We've been doing this for 25 years, and you used to get up some mornings and oh my gosh, but we just, when you get up and go to the winery and just see the beautiful, the vineyards and just the living in the Okanagan, it's pretty exciting, but we are a very young industry, and it's a learning curve, and it'll take a long time to build our industry, but boy, it's amazing how far
it's sure neat to see where we are just from 20 years ago.
It's remarkable, and the quality of wines being produced in the Okanagan and throughout British Columbia, it's truly amazing.
What I find really cool, especially with guys like Wild Goose, or we had Summerhill on here recently. Some of the best known wineries in the Okanagan are all family operations.
Yeah.
They started out as families and they've carried on, generations carrying them. It's super cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did you get into wine?
Yeah.
I mean, your family was into it. Your dad bought the vineyard. You guys were like, wine, sure. Did you have an aha moment?
Obviously, my parents, being from Europe, not so much my mother, but my father. I mean, growing up in Eastern Germany and Germany, I mean, there's wine everywhere, right?
Yeah.
You're subjected to it all the time. It is. It's part of your life. And when Mom and Dad came to Canada in the 50s, they continued to drink wine, and the wine there wasn't a lot of good wine back in the 50s, but there was always wine, in our household, and when we moved up to British Columbia, Dad, he was an unbelievable amateur winemaker, and those are my first recollections of wine was Dad making wine, and I remember he'd always make a Zinfandel and Alicante, and he would blend those two together, and I just remember as a teenager, Dad pouring glasses of wine for us at dinner time, and that's where I learned, and after that, I always enjoyed wine, and even as a youngster, it was something that I always enjoyed, and living in Calgary, just always trying to find good wines, and it's hard to say. It's hard to say, what one thing triggered it, but it's something I always enjoyed. It's absolutely fantastic, and you talk about the family aspect of things. We're so proud to be a family winery, and we're into our third generation of winemaking. My dad, my brother, and now Nicholas. He's a third generation winemaker, and
right now the full time winery is your brother Hagen, right?
That's right. Hagen is the winemaker, and myself, Roland, I'm general manager, and Nick is kind of our assistant in the cellar, and we won't call him assistant winemaker because we have to pay him too much, right? So don't give him that title yet, right?
None of that.
No, he's an assistant in the cellar, but. you know, we were very honored recently to have won, you know, a Lieutenant Governor's Award, you know, for our 2010 Pinot Blanc, and the Honorable Stephen and Gwen Point. They came to give us the award, you know, about a week ago, and Stephen had a very he had a lovely little speech that he gave, and he talked about, you know, how you know, with the Kruger family, how it's all about family, you know, and you know, farming and the wine industry, and you know, just he was so excited to see the success of a family winery, and it was deeply touching, you know, him talking about that, and that's what it's all about, is family, and,
that's really cool.
You know, it's pretty. We're very lucky to go to work every day and see our parents.
Well, and you and I had a great chat about this off camera. It's just how neat the relationship part of wine is. That's the exciting part about wine, is enjoying a nice glass of wine with the people you love, with your friends, your family. That's a lot of what the fun of wine comes down to.
You know, what wine? You know, wine is very diverse. You know, wine can be very serious. You know, it can be, you know, very fun. It can, and everything in between. And you know, wine is a sociable, you know, food. And it's so fun tasting wine, sharing experiences,
discovering new things.
That's right, exactly. And like I say, you know, we can sit down and analyze and talk about all the merits of a wine, but it is just it's great wrapping a bag around a wine, pouring it, and saying to everybody, hey, what do you think?
Yeah,
there's nothing more fun. There's nothing more
exactly.
fun than that.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you say, I mean, wine caters to almost any mindset. You can nerd out about a wine, you can just drink it and enjoy it, you can do what you like with it, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise either. Just
that's right. I mean, you know, when you taste a particular wine, you know, maybe it's quite sweet, and you know, you can't say, oh, that wine is too sweet. That may be your personal preference. You know, but that wine may be an excellent, well-made wine. But you know, it's just, it may not be made to the style that you prefer. So you know, when it comes to wine, it's in the end, it's what you like, and so like I say, you have to be a bit. You know, you have to take a wine for what it's worth, and if it's sweet, that's the style of winemaker made. You know, that's what he was looking for and thought the consumer would like, and you know, if you don't like it, there's probably, you know, a million people that would like it.
Yeah, so, don't write it off and say it's
no. That's right. That's right. So it's, you know, or a wine that, you know, has too much oak, or you know, it's that's the style that the winemaker wanted to present. You know, that was his best you know, effort, and you know, like I say, you got to take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the subjective part of wine, right? There's the other side of wine, where there are some wines that can be flawed or have a really bad year, or some overproduced something.
Sorry, I can't tell you about that.
Yeah, I can't tell you about that. It doesn't come around that often, but the other side is so subjective. Just enjoy it. You may or may like it, but
you know, winemaking is, you know, I hate to use the cliches that it's a cross between tradition and science, but you know, when you've been in the business for 25 years, you know, we do things in a certain manner, and because you know, we want to be consistent, and consumers love consistency.
Absolutely.
And, you know, our wines are very consistent year after year after year, and you know, when a person goes from a 2009 to the 2010 vintage, they want to see a lot of similarities.
Yeah, they'll see similarities. They're still going to see the sense of terroir, the place of that wine for each individual vintage.
That's right, exactly. But
it's still going to taste like Wild Goose.
Has to be Wild Goose. Has to be you know, floral. Has to be crisp and clean. So you know, there is a lot of tradition that goes into the winemaking, and that is a tradition, because you know, we do things in a certain manner to get certain flavor profiles. But in science-wise, I mean, you know, the guys in the cellar and in the lab, you know, there is a huge science in winemaking, and there's constantly things changing. We've got, you know, new parameters of doing things, and there's new equipment to help us make wines, and but there is a huge science behind it as well. And yes, you do use both.
Well, that's one thing again about you guys, Wild Goose, that I've really respected. I've spent lots of time at your winery hanging out, and you guys have hosted us and been such a pleasure to hang out with. But you guys have put a lot of your capital, your investment into your winemaking. That's where your money goes. We
have a very non-pretentious tasting room.
Yeah. It's and an amazing little patio. A license, bring your own cheese, sit on their patio, and have an awesome glass of wine.
You know, we are a very humble family. You know, we've won hundreds of medals and had huge accolades over the years, and you know, we're greatly honored by those accolades, and it's tough for us to stand up there and go rah rah rah. That's just the way we are as a family. You know, we really let the wines speak for themselves, and obviously nowadays with 200 wineries, we do have to toot our horn a little bit once in a while. But you know, you know, when we built our winery, you know, we had a tiny, well, a fair sized tasting room, but it's got a bar in there. It's very comfortable for tasting. But you know, we like to really invest heavily into our production to have the best equipment possible to make the best wines. And you know, we're one of the best equipped little wineries in British Columbia.
Because at the end of the day, that's really what counts.
And we love showing people our winery. It's just, we're very proud of what we have on there. It's spotless, and you know, I think my mother's upbringing of always, you know, keeping everything spotless and clean is carried through.
There you go.
And Mom, you know, you should be very proud of us because our winery is nice and clean. So
that's great. Well, it's I love stopping there, hanging out. It looks like a family-run farm winery. I mean, their office has got random chairs in it, and there's stuff in the lab. And
that's right, because we have no room. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Your guys are hanging around. The tractor goes by. It's a good, fun place. So what are you tasting? This is your 2010 Pinot Gris.
Yes.
So tell us, okay, Pinot Gris. Pinot Gris, and I've said this often on the show, but in British Columbia or the Okanagan, Pinot Gris tends to do quite well, especially Okanagan Falls or Nierychlo area. How have you guys found Pinot Gris?
You know, it's interesting. You know, when my father scoped out the property that we currently have, he never ever thought about Pinot Gris. And
there's a question for you. I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Your father, German background, right?
Yes.
Now, is it possible that Riesling and Gewurz happen to do well in your land, or is it because of the German background you guys chose Riesling and Gewurz?
Well, you know, in the old days, a lot of wineries, you know, would say, "Hey, Mike, you've got 10 acres of, or you've got 10 acres of land. We would like you to plant these grapes." Yeah. My dad did things a little bit differently. He researched the property that we had, and you know, we have in the Riesling a beautiful southerly slope. I mean, it's perfect southern exposure. And Dad thought, you know, Riesling would be the ultimate variety to grow there because it needs that intense heat. It needs the last of the sun of the fall season, and that southern slope is going to capture all the sun that Mother Nature will throw its way. And he said that's a natural place for Riesling. And you know, the flatter area in our vineyard, the northern, part of the vineyard, Dad, he loved Gewürztraminer, and his friend Nick Broderson, just a few kilometers down the road, was growing Gewürztraminer, and Dad thought, you know what, Gewürz would grow absolutely superbly here. So Dad went up to Mission Hill and said, "Listen, I'm growing Gewürz, and Riesling, you guys want it?" And they said, "Absolutely." So that's how Dad chose those varieties. But Pinot Gris, that was not on Dad's radar at the time, and just by chance I'm just thinking back in 1998, we got a few tons of Pinot Gris from a grower, and Hagen did a miraculous job in putting that wine together, and he just has an unbelievable knack for this variety, and you know, it was the 2000. You know, that I think really was Hagen's most spectacular year in the early going, and the 2000 vintage was just full of fruit and melon and pear, and you know what, he found his niche, and he's carried on the tradition, and it's such a beautiful. I mean, this is such
I like we were speaking about earlier. It's such a great example of BC Pinot Gris. Yes. But when I taste it, I taste Wild Goose, or I taste Hagen making the Pinot Gris. It's got so much like intense minerality, great kind of crisp apple, really neat stone fruit.
You know, 2010 was a superb year for you know, fruit extraction and acid. You know, the 2010s had beautiful natural acid, which was unbelievable, and it just carried through and stayed in the wine. And
well, it's such a refreshing wine. I mean, the one subtle hint I always get from Wild Goose is you guys, Hagen must have like a bit of a sweet tooth or something, because all your wines have like the subtlest hint of something sweet to it. It's not even like it's sugary. It's like it's almost like it's just fruitier. If it's just the fruit finishes really round, you know, on this, and I mean, it's only got, you know, about 10 grams of residual sweetness, which is not sweet at all. You know, but it's just really well rounded and integrated. I mean, Hagen does a bit of barrel fermentation, and you know, he blends that together with stainless steel, and you know, you don't even really detect the oak on it, but it's just really integrated well and gives it superb mouthfeel. You know, so but Hagen, you know,
when he makes these wines,
I mean, it's
in the spring when you put them together,
tongue,
he's he has such a knack, and he's always got a few things up his sleeve to just finish these wines off perfectly. But this was we learned that with the Lieutenant Governor's Awards recently, this was one of the 41 finalists. So this and the Pinot Blanc made it to the final round.
I mean, it's such a yummy one. It keeps me craving more. My mouth is watering. This would go so well with your soft cheeses, things like that.
When you smell this wine, your mouth literally waters. It's
true.
Amazing. And
it has and Pinot Gris in general. I find Pinot Gris in the Okanagan, if they don't have this aspect, which I think is the signature of the Okanagan, is you get this really neat minerality that it's minerality that bridges that sage note, right? Mm-hmm. Which is kind of the most prevalent ground plant in the Okanagan, but you get a lot of that, and this is a direct reflection of that.
Great food wine too. Matches up so well with Pacific Northwest cuisine and Asian food.
And just so many things.
Pork, chicken, and fish. So just a multi-purpose wine, and it's great just to have on its own.
Oh, totally. It's a patio sipper. This would do all the sushi. Would do with Indian.
It's a fun. But you know what? Hagen learned to make Pinot Gris from you guys. Mike and Mike, you guys, we have our Pinot Gris. Well, we have our Pinot Gris off here, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So we had a lot of fun with that. You guys made your 10 gallons
with your grapes.
That's right. And then we had that little tasting, and you gave Hagen a few pointers there. And
did we? Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I think it might have been the other way around, but
it was lots of fun.
Absolutely. Next year.
A little competition going on here.
We'll see what we can do.
I'll let Hagen know that he's up. Tough next year. Yeah, exactly.
So if somebody wants to find your 2010 Pinot Gris, what are they looking to pay for a bottle of this, and where can they find it?
Well, I mean, our products are available on our website, www.wildgoosewinery.com, and we sell through VQA stores, private retailers, throughout the province, and
I've seen you at a lot of different private liquor stores.
We sell to a lot of retail stores, and the Pinot Gris is certainly one of the ones that we try getting out there.
I mean, by far the best place to buy the Pinot Gris is to stop by the winery and say hello to Roland.
Absolutely. Come in and try a little sample, right?
Yeah,
if you get up into Okanagan Falls. Absolutely.
There you go. Well, and he mentioned it got the wildgoose.winery.com, so I'll have the link below the video for you. You can click on it, go check them out. If you want to buy some wine, that's the place to go.
Perfect.
What else are we trying?
Well, I had to bring a classic.
Had to bring a classic,
this is the Wild Goose Gewürztraminer, and
this is your 2010 as well. Yeah.
The fruit is sourced from our Wild Goose vineyards, and what's amazing about this wine is that it's a real classic. Gewürztraminer, and it's made from our 25-year-old vines. It's made from vines. These are the vines were planted in 1984, and these vines. They have endured so much over the years. I mean, it's just remarkable. And when you look at the trunks are this big. And those roots, they must be down. I don't know how many feet deep. Just searching for nutrients, and but. The true terroir is really being displayed in this wine, because the vines are so old. And
here, this is for everybody out there to get an idea of what Roland's talking about.
That's right.
An example of what your vines look like.
This is exactly it. Absolutely. And this is about the size that they're at. When you have a plant, this big, it has to work pretty hard to feed the shoots that are going to
get nourishment all the way from there.
That's right. That's
a good example of an old vine.
And you know what? This makes the best firewood too. Let me tell you.
It dries right out.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
There we go.
But over the years, we've become so well known for our Gewürztraminer, and in the early years, we made our Gewürztraminer a little bit drier, because we really wanted to match it up with foods, and consequently, we've kind of kept in that style over the years, and it again has just a hint of residual.
Yeah, very subtle. I mean, I think that's kind of your guys' signature, is that subtle hint of residual.
Exactly.
Hagen does a really good job of integrating into the wine very well, so it doesn't stand out.
But we've also noticed that as the roots are just getting deeper, we're starting to get like some earth tone, some ginger, some anise, licorice, and it's amazing. There's hints of like really ripe rose petal, and it's just somebody was saying orange pekoe tea, and
okay, that's hit that.
There
right
you go. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And
that's an interesting taste. I haven't had that tasted that in Gewurz before, but that's so true. And it's subtle. It's subtle on the back end.
And that comes from that vineyard. That's where these flavor profiles.
Your roots are
they're down there. They're down there. A few years ago we put up a building and we were digging down over 25 feet and we had to pull out a few plants. Yeah. And there were great plant roots down 25 feet.
Down. That's so cool.
I don't even know how far they went down. It's remarkable. So but the true vineyard, the soil is showing in this wine.
Yeah.
And it's
very
Gewurz
again is another wine that does extremely well in the Okanagan. A lot of people will really do well with it.
Just lovely.
But again, such a versatile wine. This would work so well with so many different cuisines and on its own. I know my wife is a huge Gewürztraminer fan. If I bring home Indian food one night, this is where's the Gewürz?
No, absolutely. And as I say, this is from our original vines, and we got these cuttings actually from Sumac Ridge Winery.
Oh, really?
And they in turn, there's a little bit of a trail here. Yeah. So they got their cuttings from Washington State and via California.
Yeah.
And California, they were brought in from Alsace.
Oh,
So when you take a cutting, you get 100% clone of the mother plant.
Yeah. Now, are they grafted or are they own rooted? Or?
Well, these are own rooted vines actually.
Really?
So
that's cool.
This
that's
is
really cool.
you're getting 100% Gewürztraminer. Absolutely. So
wow.
As long as the fluxer keeps its distance, we're okay.
Yeah, exactly. So now this one, what are people looking to? How much would this one be?
This one, well, it's $18.99 is the price on that. So available, as I say, same places as our as the Pinot Gris, and it's been a popular wine for a lot of years. Just absolutely lovely, just a lovely wine. As you can tell, we also went with screw caps this year. We've been experimenting with screw caps for a lot of years, and we just thought, this is the year. Let's do it, and keeping the wines fresh, and people really are enjoying the freshness of the wines.
It is a convenient. I used to be very romanticized by the cork, right? Yes. But even down here in the garage doing my episodes, I'm like, oh, where's my corkscrew? Oh, this guy. Okay, I got screw cap. Pop, done, ready to shoot the episode. But
well, you know what, Mike? I had an email the other day from a fellow, and he said, "Dear Roland, I noticed that you've gone to screw cap totally," and he says, "I'm one of your biggest fans, but I'm not going to buy any more Wild Goose wines because I like the cork." And he says, "I like the romance of it all, but nonetheless, I certainly hope that he'll come back one day. Hopefully the wine, the flavor of the wines will win over the closure, and like I say,
you guys, your style is fresh, aromatic, crisp whites.
Right.
You're making it in stainless. It's a natural transition.
That's right. That's
under
right.
screw cap. Now, if you were doing Cab Franc or a Bordeaux blend that you're planning to age for the next 30 years, it's a whole other story.
That's right. So, anyways, like I say, we've gone with the screw cap, and it's really worked out well. So we're awesome. pretty excited by that.
Cool.
Sure.
I'm sure you and I could carry on for hours. And
really? No way. Really?
Yeah, I would just keep going and going. I think we're gonna go for pints after the episode.
What?
Actually.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see what we can do for that.
Somebody said about it takes a lot of beer to make good wine.
That's true.
Have you heard that?
Okay, here's the funny thing. Every winemaker I know in the Okanagan, every wine person is a true full-fledged beer drinker.
Really?
Wine is their day job. It's true. Well, Roland, I really appreciate you coming by. Here's to the continued success.
You know what? I'd just like to thank you very much for inviting us over. I've been wanting to come down for quite a while here, and it's been a true pleasure. Thanks for the invite.
Appreciate you coming by.
And congratulations to your awesome show.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's a great honor to be here.
Yeah, so everybody out there, make sure if you are in the area, stop in at Okanagan Falls, say hi to Roland. I know, and I can attest that he's the kind of guy, you knock on his office, Roland, come say hi, and he'll come out, he'll shake your hand.
Absolutely.
He might even give you a hug if you get him.
Well, hugs are a little bit more expensive, but free sample of wine.
That's the way to go. Cool. Well, everybody out there, don't forget, wine, depretentious size. This is how wine should be. Chilling out, enjoying it with another person. And also, like I mentioned in the previous episode, if you have a wine question, there's no such thing as a stupid question if you don't know the answer. So leave your comments with your questions below. We'll see you on the next episode.